Good evening, I'm Camelia and this is KiniNews. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim said the government is committed to fighting corruption and would not protect anyone. This includes on the Sabah bribery case. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim today stressed that there will be no cover-ups in the MACC investigation into the alleged bribery scandal involving several Sabah State assemblypersons. Speaking at the Dewan Rakyat this morning, he reiterated the government's seriousness in fighting graft and said that they would not protect anyone. He said this in response to a question posed by Pendang MP Awang Hashim, who wanted to know about Putrajaya's efforts to eradicate corruption in Malaysia.
Kalau dimulakan dengan soal rasuah, memang langkah-langkah itu memang tegas. Dan memang saya tahu dia tidak mudah kerana sukar untuk memenangi rasuah bila melibatkan golongan mahakaya kerana ramai penyokong-penyokong mereka. Jadi tetapi saya telah diberi maklum oleh SPRM bahawa hal ini akan diteruskan, termasuk isu-isu kadang-kadang yang berbangkit umpamanya yang terakhir mengenai Sabah. Itu yang dimaklum oleh SPRM, siasatan diteruskan, adun-adun terkaitan dipanggil. Tapi setakat itu saja yang saya boleh beri makluman, tetapi tidak benar sama sekali kalau dikatakan ada usaha untuk mengekang dan menyekat.
Anwar also said that the government can perform better in implementing reform over time. He said this in response to Bersih giving the government a poor rating in its recent assessment and criticizing it for failing to fulfill many of its reform agenda.
Tentang Bersih, tak apalah Bersih bagi D tapi bukan F, jadi mudah-mudahan dia D, UPSR D, SPRM, SPM esok naik A lah insyaAllah. Dia baru sangat.
Meanwhile, Hanipa Maidin does not seem to share the same optimism as Anwar, and he is not certain if Malaysians do either. Hanipa argued that Anwar had 24 years to prepare. Hanipa Maidin has recalled how Anwar has been chanting reformasi since his exit from UMNO in September 1998 and spent more than 2 decades delivering speeches nationwide on how he intended to transform the nation for the better. Hanipa said this in response to Anwar describing his Madani government as still very new when responding to Bersih rating his administration's performance to date with a D. Anwar had said that he believes that his government could do better in the future, saying it would aspire to score an A in the SPM examination after obtaining a D in Bersih's test, which he equated to the UPSR examination for Standard 6 pupils in the past. Elaborating, Hanipa told Malaysia Kini that Anwar had 24 years to prepare for the UPSR examination, and unlike other exams, he was given the luxury of answering the questions for a period of 2 years. Employing the same examination analogy, he pointed out that there would be a 5-year gap between the UPSR and SPM examinations. He said there would be a general election in between and questioned what if the principal, who is the public, kicks Anwar's government out of school because there is no improvement before it even gets the chance to sit for the SPM examination. Hanipa also argued that the 22-month Pakatan Harapan government under Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, in which he served, appeared to be more prepared to roll out reforms. Hanipa added that the current government consistently chants the word reform, but its determination to bring meaningful reform is being consistently questioned. In conjunction with Malaysia Kini turning 25 from now to 30th November, you can subscribe or renew your Malaysia Kini package with 25% off. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen to enjoy this exclusive offer. Still on the topic of Bersih's ranking, Zar Kashi has hit back at Shahidan Kasim over his response to the issue. UMNO Supreme Council member Mohamed Zar Kashi said the opposition would not even be eligible for grading if left to the Rakyat. He said this in response to ARA MP Shahidan Kasim's claims yesterday that the government risked getting an E grade if the public had a say. In a post on Facebook today, he said according to Shahidan, the government risks getting a lower grade if the Rakyat made the evaluation. He added that going by that argument, PN won't even get a grade and pointed out that they got routed in Nenggiri and Makota. He said the PN government failed. That's why they lasted only 17 months. A total F. Puat also dismissed Bersih's reports and called it selective. He said this is the season to give grades, but they are all political in nature and Bersih is a partisan NGO that is being selective. 2 days ago, Bersih gave the Anwar Ibrahim-led federal administration a D grade in its midterm evaluation. The poor performance was attributed to the coalition government's failure to implement significant institutional reforms. Following this, Shahidan criticized the government, saying that it is facing problems both on the domestic and international fronts. The police have been given 6 months to wrap up their probe into Teo Beng Hok's death. Here's more on that. Teo Beng Hok's family succeeded in their legal action to force the police to wrap up the long-standing probe into his death. The Kuala Lumpur High Court this morning allowed the family's judicial review over the 2009 incident following the deceased being heavily questioned by MACC. Judge Wan Ahmad Farid Wan Saleh ordered the police to complete the probe within 6 months from today, ruling there had been an inordinate delay in the investigation. Wan Ahmad Farid said it is incumbent on this civil court to abide by the previous Court of Appeal and Royal Commission of Inquiry rulings for the 15-year investigation to be wrapped up. The judge added that there must be finality in this case and closure for everything, as parents of the deceased, like every citizen, deserve justice. The judge noted that while the delay in the police investigation is not reasonable, he found no evidence of mele fide or bad faith behind the slow progress of the probe. Teo was found dead on July 16, 2009, on the 5th floor service corridor of Plaza Masalam in Shah Alam after being questioned overnight at the Selangor MACC headquarters on the 14th floor. In January 2022, Teo's parents filed a judicial review due to the alleged failure of the police to complete their investigation into his death. They obtained court leave to proceed with the civil action in June 2022. Hassan Karim was summoned by the PKR Disciplinary Board today. The disciplinary action was initiated following complaints the party received against him. PKR is holding a disciplinary hearing for its Pasir Gudang MP Hassan Abdul Karim at the party headquarters in Petaling Jaya this afternoon. According to sources, the disciplinary board has summoned the outspoken representative over his statement on Putrajaya's decision to appoint the royalty-linked U-Mobile as the second operator for Malaysia's 5G network. When contacted by Malaysia Kini, Hassan confirmed the matter, saying it is true but declined to comment further. He said it is better to get the details from the disciplinary board. Meanwhile, PKR's Secretary General Fuzia Saleh, when contacted, said the disciplinary action was initiated following complaints the party received against Hassan from several members of its Central Leadership Council. She told Malaysia Kini that she forwarded the complaints to the disciplinary board so that the matter can be investigated and his grievances can be discussed within the internal party mechanism. Earlier sources indicated that Hassan had been accused of tarnishing the party's image when he made the statement. He is also accused of insulting the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar and criticizing Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's government with his remarks. Earlier this month, Hassan posted a statement on his Facebook that criticized the appointment of U-Mobile. He had said that Anwar's struggle for transparency and good governance was being hampered by the return of the Mahakaya crony capitalist group. Anthony Loke will not be responding to any attacks against his party by Akmal Saleh. Loke said he will be focusing on more important tasks such as implementing government policies and economic improvements. DAP Secretary General Anthony Loke has chosen not to respond to UMNO Youth Chief Dr. Muhammad Akmal Saleh because the latter is not at the same level as him. This is despite Akmal's repeated attacks on DAP leaders, including Loke himself. Loke explained that as a minister and key government leader, he has more important tasks, such as implementing government policies and economic improvements. He said he is the top leader of the party, the Secretary General, and if he had to react to every comment made by second or third tier leaders from either opposition or allied parties, he would not have time to do anything else as his attention would be constantly diverted. He added that if he responds to Akmal, it actually elevates his status as Akmal is just a youth chief, not not a decision maker, not a top leader of his party, not in the cabinet, and not even an MP. Loke stated that if his party needs to respond, there are people who can handle it, such as the youth wing or other central committee members. He also pointed out that if they engage in constant noisy disputes, it would make the government seem unproductive, as if it's neglecting important matters, policies, and economic development and only focused on bickering. Loke said this during an interview for a Malaysia Kini Chinese language podcast earlier this month. He was responding to remarks made by Ang Sai Ti, a business person and leader of several Chinese NGOs. On October 27th, during the height of the flag war incident over the Guangdong Cultural Festival, Ang likened Loke to a mouse when facing Akmal, whom he referred to as a small cat. That is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Camelia. Thanks for watching.